ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of It Takes a Simple Man to Lead Geniuses podcast. Brought to you by the Oh Hi Oh Guys production, powered by RealNerdCorp.com, live on twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. If you didn't already know, I'm your host for the evening. I have been cursed by a mummy. Oh no. But I'm also the Crown Vic of podcasting. My name is Alex Swisher. Joining me, as always, my trusty co-host, Chad Silly Pants Porto.
I don't like that one. I should have veto
Well,
power.
it was next on the list, so we had to get through it so we could get
So here's
to the next one.
here's peak Zane in season 3. General Mansfield says to him, "It's fascinating, you know. You've created a problem so big the solution is to detonate an atomic bomb." Zane replies, "I know, right? How cool is that?"
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of our Eureka podcast. It takes a simple man to lead geniuses. This is episode 3, like I said. The title of this episode is I Play a Wicked Game of Yahtzee. We'll be getting to that
Because
shortly.
we don't do anything normal besides play a
No.
great game of Yahtzee.
We don't do anything normal. We play a wicked game of Yahtzee.
So our photo, by the way, for this week is the woman who ends up playing Douglas Fargo's girlfriend in season 3. She does have a name. And I'm scrolling down to remember it because I completely forgot. Leela Savesta. She's only in like 2 or 3 episodes, but she's too pretty not to showcase, so here we are. We have, 18 episodes this week there, Swish?
Yeah, I think so. 18 episodes. The second longest season in Eureka.
Yep.
Like I don't know, man. Some of these episodes we definitely could have just been like, yeah, we didn't need it. They probably could have done like 12, 13 episodes.
Yeah, but when you get the budget to do it, you get the budget to do it.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I mean, of course, there's always going to be the episodes that are better than others. But like, there are definitely just some episodes where like, man, they were stretching to just do anything.
So let's tackle the first one real fast because it's not that important. We get thrown into the situation where Eva Thorne is a successful corporate fixer. She's coming in to tidy up Eureka's finances for some reason that's never really been accurately told. I think it's because of the damage from the season finale, but it's kind of like, it seems like an overreaction.
Yes.
She makes a bunch of changes that end up not being changes by the end of the episode and by the end of the season. And the other big important thing is we get to meet Martha, a giant floating drone that can shoot things with her little eye things. And we also get some great dialogue here from Zane especially. But outside of that, like, there's nothing really here except to establish the character of Eva Thorne.
Eva Thorne.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so down the way we go, we got What About Bob? Oh, by the by, Henry Deacon. Henry Deacon is in prison, and he's being moved soon. Now we're off to What About Bob? So Carter and Allison end up going into a biodome. Pretty sure there's a... What was that comedian's name? It was Dave Chappelle and who? He always does like the Metallica for kids jokes. Remember him? It's like Henry something. Let's see.
Don't know.
Metallica for kids joke. It's like Jim Brewer. Is that it?
Oh, it maybe.
I think it's Jim
Gaffigan?
No, I think it's Jim Brewer.
Oh, it probably is Jim Brewer because Jim Brewer was in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle.
Yes, that's who it is then. So they go to the biodome to find if a sex pervert who's been fucking everyone's wife down in the biodome for the last 11 years, is wanted for murder or some bullshit. They end up finding him that he's turning into a giant lizard man and scary. So basically, it's just big dumb and monster hunting and hey, Henry's here, but he's in prison, so it's a hologram. But then at the end of the episode, it's not Henry hologram, it's real Henry, and now he's here, and yay, now we can get to a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Best
literally, it's like
info.
Episodes 1 and 2 were literally just setup episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, best
Eva Thorne
info.
is kind of a bitch, and Henry's now not in prison. Oh, and
Hmm.
and and Stark and Allison are getting married. You're all caught up. But best info is pretty fucking awesome, for one goddamn gigantic molten reason.
Yeah, best info is great. They're getting ready to have the Eureka robotic dog show, but there's earthquakes going on. Um, yeah, so they I forget for what reason, but they go to oh, Stark takes Carter to the core processing room of GD to show him the computer, and it's all run on these things called logic diamonds, which are these diamonds that can store tons and tons of memory. Um, and he shows him a logic diamond, and he's gonna give one to
Allison.
uh, Allison at the wedding. And they're talking to the lady who is in charge of the core computer. The the android dogs are exploding, and they can't figure out why. And then they find out that the android dogs have logic diamonds placed within them. Uh, so the diamonds are only found in the core of the GD main computer. But they find an abandoned mine where a scientist has been growing logic diamonds from melted coal, um,
Not so
and
much
testing them
growing,
in.
so much as melting them and molding them.
Yes, and he was testing them in the dogs, but using the this like sonic emitter ray was causing the magma in causing stuff the rock underneath Eureka to melt, creating magma pockets,
Yes.
which was creating pressure. And the only way that they could release pressure was as if it turned into either is by earthquakes, which would then result in a gigantic volcano appearing dead smack in the middle of Eureka.
So
Um,
the best part of this episode, though, is Doctor Hood, played by the legendary Alan Ruck of Ferris Bueller's Day Off fame. He's a retired scientist who still has a passion for seismology, but he's no longer
mhm.
affiliated with the town because he had a nervous breakdown after he failed to predict a massive eruption. But this was his chance for redemption, and his goddamn goofy ass Bugs Bunny drilling machine is the best fucking part of this episode. Because at one point it explodes from the goddamn street in front of Carter, and Carter just goes, "You can't park that here!" And he's just like, "Sorry, sheriff." It's just this giant fucking caterpillar thing that, oh god, it's so goddamn funny.
That's really great. Yeah, he's the best part about this because him and Carter just crack like dumb dad jokes at each other the entire time they're together. Oh, it's fantastic. Um,
Let's not forget the part where Allie was in the middle of the field with them, and a mud volcano erupted, and Allison was wearing this brand new high tech wedding dress, and she just gets
yep,
fucking demolished while wearing it.
just covered head to toe. Poor lady.
It's fucking funny.
So yeah, it melted the bedrock, and so they had to go in and manually. What did they have to do? They had to like manually cool down or like relieve the pressure of the magma pocket.
No, they had to drain the pocket into a reservoir so it would not explode.
That's right. Yeah. And Carter and Stark get into his tunneler and go down and fix the problem and save the day. Woo! You know?
There is a
And
great
then,
line though, and I'm looking at it right here.
yeah.
Allison says, "A pocket of magma developed spontaneously? That's impossible." Dr. Hood, "Did impossible cover my friend with mucus?" Carter, he's got a point.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so glad I found this.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Oh, yeah. Fargo's dog wins Best in Show. But
Wait, no.
Fargo also,
He cheats because it's a real dog.
it's a real dog. Also, there was no competition because all of the other robotic dogs exploded.
We also
So,
get the snippy bitch from the sex what was it, the sexual harassment conference, and we also get the weird chick that invented flavorless chicken clones.
oh yeah,
They're both in this episode arguing about which dog is stupid. And I was like, okay.
Both of them.
Yes. So in episode 4, I do over, hearts break across the world. This is easily, I don't know easily, but this is one of my favorites of the fucking season for sure. Basically,
Mentally
Carter.
preparing myself.
Oh yeah, it's hard. Basically, Carter gets trapped in a time loop. He wakes up, he goes about his day, then he goes, his sister arrives with their cat that his sister believes is the reincarnation of grandmother or their aunt or something like that. And Carter goes throughout his day, goes to get Allie, they walk her down the aisle, and then he wakes up the very next day, like Groundhog Day, and what's been happening? So he goes through the entire day again, but this time he notices a giant rift, and he ends up back in the same spot where he's been the last 2 days, which was the shower. And this happens a few times. So eventually he realizes that these daily redactions that he keeps having to do is part of it. There's this individual that keeps avoiding being redacted, and Carter realizes that the guy is aware of this. That he's aware of what's going on, so he confronts him, and the doctor finally confesses, like, dude, I invented time travel, and I ain't even fucking sorry. But, like, I didn't figure out how to do this shit correctly, so now I'm like, I'm fucked, and I gotta time this shit just right, otherwise, we're all gonna be fucking dead. Carter's like, that sounds like a bad thing, and the guy's like, yeah, it's super bad. So the guy's like, if I do this right, everything will be back to normal. Like, time will keep moving and we'll be fine. And Carter's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then the guy hits the button, and then they all wake up, or he wakes up the next morning, and he's like all fucked to hell. And Carter drags his fucking bum ass to the GD and finds the charred remains of the dude. Oh, that dude is having a bad day.
Yeah.
But each time through, he keeps trying to tell Stark about this, and Stark's like, this is impossible, this is impossible. So the doctor, before he gets roasty toasty, convinces Carter to memorize a formula, and Carter has to learn it like a fucking nursery rhyme. And he starts doing the rhyme to Stark, and Stark's like, wait, how the fuck did Sheriff Numbnuts know this?
Yeah.
So eventually, Stark realizes that Carter's telling the truth, and they set up this entire elaborate device where they're going to sync the device that they need to continue the time stream going forward with GD's brand new clock that is like perfect in keeping time. But the device breaks, and Stark's like, I'll do it manually. And when he does it, he successfully achieves it, but when time moves forward, Stark doesn't, and Stark fades away into nothing, forcing Jack to have to go tell Allison at her wedding that Stark isn't just not coming, he's never coming, he's dead. The one complaint I have about this is I don't know why Stark died doing this.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It may have been one of those things where they didn't expect it not to work, but they also kind of hinted that it was definitely going to kill someone, and Fargo's like, I'll do it. And Stark's like,
Yeah.
no, Fargo, it's got to be me. But look at you being an actual person, like trying to be a real man. Hey, good for you, Fark idiot.
I mean, at least he 100% stepped up to take it. There are a lot of things about this episode that don't make any fucking sense. Let's talk about the fact that in each reset, Carter gets more and more beat up, and no one acknowledges it.
No, they do.
No, in most of the time, the only thing that gets acknowledged about him was is Stark saying, "What happened, Carter? You get in a bar fight?" At the end of the day, Allison acknowledges him, saying, "Carter, no, not even." Allison's just like, "Carter, you're late. What's going on?" And stuff like that. But most of the time, nobody's like, "Oh, he literally wakes up in the morning and or he travels back to being in the shower, and Sarah goes, "I'm detecting broken ribs, Carter, or Sheriff." And then he goes to breakfast, and Zoe's just like, "Blah, blah, blah. Here's some ketchup, blah, blah, blah." And he's got broken ribs, and he's still in his cop uniform.
Well, he also constantly gets, that's the last time through. But previously, he has nicks on his face, and they're always like, hey, did you cut yourself shaving? And he's like, what? No. Because that was from like 3 days prior, but it keeps bleeding through.
Yeah.
So they do acknowledge it, just maybe not as much as they should have.
Yeah, that one gets acknowledged the same time over and over again by Stark saying, "What happened, Carter? Bar fight?"
I'm pretty sure there's also one or two where they ask him if he's all right. All right, so what else doesn't make sense to you in this one?
The Carter dying.
Yeah, you
Hey,
mean
like,
Stark dying.
Stark. I'm sorry. Yeah. Stark dying. Makes zero fucking sense because I know that they set up that whoever does this is gonna die, but if everything worked properly, why? Like, the least they could have done is like in the next episode, like explain what the fuck happened. But they don't. They're just like, yeah, Carter sacrificed himself so that we could stop time from
Stark.
looping over and over again. Fuck. Sorry. Stark sacrificed himself so that he could stop time from looping over and over again. But how did it kill him? Explain.
It could
We
easily have
need.
been explained away where Jack says something to the effect like, we didn't know it would kill him, or we didn't know what would end up happening, but apparently, it took Carter with it or whatever. Like, or not. God damn, you got me doing it. Stark with it.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, you cunt. But it is what it is. It's still a damn good episode, though. Especially how
It's a great episode.
it ends on this like really sad
Oh,
fucking music. Oh, God,
yeah, where he has to walk into the tent and she's like, "Where's Stark?" And he's just like, "Allison," and I'm like, "No, don't you do this."
So throughout the
Don't you-
episode, whenever Jack gets to the wedding to give Allison away, he goes, "I just want you to know I'll always be there for you." And every time through, he says that. Even the time through when he tells Allison he loves her and tries to fuck her in the middle of the goddamn wedding.
Yeah.
So the last time through, he says, before he says anything, he walks in all jacked to hell, and she's just like, where are you? Like, what the hell? Like, you're gonna walk me down the aisle like that? And he looks at her and he goes, Allison, I just want you to know I'll always be there for you. And she's like, what? What's going on? And then she's like, where's Stark? And then she fucking puts two and two together because Sheriff Numbnuts isn't that smart, and she figures out that he doesn't have the balls to tell her, and she breaks down. It's a big thing. So moving on to Show Me the Mummy.
Show me the mummy.
So we have two paleontologists, archaeologists, whatever the fuck they're supposed to be, arguing over how to handle this Queen Nefertiti or whatever her name is.
And
And
they're just opening an ancient Egyptian tomb.
they somehow lasered this bitch, and I don't mean the mummy, I mean this slab of temple out of somewhere in Egypt, hoverboarded its ass over to fucking Oregon, only to open it in the middle of a goddamn facility. What? Talking about doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
And Zane's
yeah.
like, yeah, I fucking invented the propeller system or the propulsion system to bring it over. What?
This is some horse shit.
How did the
bullshit.
Egyptian government not have any problems with you fucking Swiss cheese in their goddamn monuments? Are you crazy? So anyway.
Yeah. Some shit here don't make any sense.
So they open it, and they're like, oh my god, it's a mummy. Oh, I'm surprised. So later on in the night, while Fargo is helping set up the Nathan Stark Memorial Wing, which was actually the same memorial wing that was named after his grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
That one had to hurt. So they're setting it up, and Fargo thinks that the mummy came to life because he's afraid of getting a curse. So Fargo's like, yeah, fucking mummy, man, it's real. And they're like, Fargo, you're an idiot. And then they go and investigate, the mummy's gone, and Fargo's like, ha! And Jack's like, that doesn't make any sense. So they eventually deduce that the mummy didn't actually get up. It disintegrated. It's not a big mystery. But apparently along the way, two individuals who went into the tomb, the camera girl and the douchebag, fake showman, archaeologist, paleontologist, whatever, they end up getting sick and dying. The woman is found in a puddle of in like a water, like a thing of water. I know what words are. There's like this ground level aquarium that Fargo's putting into this facility for Nathan Stark, and she ends up finding her way into that, and it preserves her, but she's straight up dead. And then you have the host himself, and he gets fucking destroyed inside and out. They're like, what's doing this? And then they realize, oh shit, these fucking bugs are doing it. Oh my god. And it turns out that if you get touched or what have you, like you get infected, and Fargo's infected now. And Fargo's like, "How am I looking?" And they're like, "You looking like death, kid." And Fargo's like, "Okay, I guess I'm the big dead."
Yeah, Fargo. Fucking Fargo.
So they end up figuring out that terrible music that Jack's sister makes is attracting the bugs. So they freeze the hell out of these bugs and they kill them all. And then they're like, let's do the same to Fargo. And Fargo's like, this is a bad idea. And they're like, yup. Hey, say hi to your wife for me. What? Because you're Mr. Freeze? I don't. And then they freeze his ass. It works. Fargo ends up, having a bunch of bugs in his system for the rest of his life. But I guess that's the price you pay for living in Eureka.
Absolutely is the price you pay for living in Eureka.
Like, think about it. He's got like little Egyptian bugs in like his fingers and shit, just decaying. Ugh.
I mean, look, if we've learned anything from Courage the Cowardly Dog, don't mess with mummies.
Nope. Ramsey.
Thank you. I was gonna say, please tell me you get this joke.
I do. I forget what the jazz line or a chorus line is of that.
I think it's
the man in gauze.
The word,
I think it's the man in
it's
gauze.
I think it's the man in gauze.
Yes, it's the man in gauze. Ramsey, the man
in gauze. The man in gauze.
He's Ramsey, and he's just like, return the slab, and then like Courage will do something, and then Mummy will go, and then Mummy will go, drat.
Man.
We don't have a quantum phasing department, Carter. So we So we also find out a big thing about Allison in Show Me the Mummy. Allison passes the fuck out, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's got the bugs. She's got someone inside of her living and chewing on her and eating." And they're like, "Yeah, she does, Carter." And Carter's like, "No, she's gonna die." And they're like, "No, but she's gonna get a little bit fatter for a few weeks." What? She's pregnant. And
she's
he's like,
pregnant.
"Oh, okay." And throughout the episode, Allison's seeing the ghost of Nathan, and she's like, "What? This is fucked." And then they realize, like, oh, hey, Nathan's not really here. He put a fucking hologram in his logic diamond, and every time you touch it, it activates it. So it's super fucking annoying.
Yep. Because she's been grabbing the necklace that Carter gave her for like almost as like a safety blanket.
Mm-hmm.
As people do. This is not nothing. This isn't anything insane.
I grab my junk when I'm feeling nervous. I relate.
Thank you all for listening to another edition.
So we find out that, and this was actually written in the last minute, I found out. Because, what's her real name? Michael.
Sally.
Jesse Raphael.
Richardson. Sally. No. Sally Richardson Whitfield.
Sally Richardson Whitfield is actually pregnant in real life at this point.
Did you just call her Sally Richardson Wheatfield?
No, I said Sally Jesse Richardson.
I thought you called her Wheatfield.
No.
Which, I'm not going to lie to you, is pretty funny.
Well, I'm glad I can make you laugh. Sally Jesse Raphael is still alive, by the way. She's 85.
Wow, that's
holy shit.
Crazy.
So, Sally Richardson Whitfield.
Yes.
Gets pregnant in real life, so they wrote her pregnancy into the storyline. That's why she's randomly not there for 2 episodes. Because she actually gave the birth.
That makes sense.
Yep. So we then hop on over to Phased and Confused. A great title. So
yes.
After Eva Thorne convinces Henry to do some work for her, Henry's like, listen, I literally just got out of jail. And I'm a black man working for a federal government agency, and you're asking me to do some illegal shit. I'm dumb. I'm not that dumb. You're on your own. So she's like, who's smart, stupid, and does insane, illegal things? Hey, Zane, how are ya? And Zane's like, what big, dumb, illegal thing do you need me to do? And she's like, how do you know I need you to do a big, dumb, illegal thing? And Zane's like, No one ever comes to ask me to do something illegal. So she has Zane look into this underground bunker that Henry discovered, looking for some type of specific radiation. Along the way, Zoe's getting buddy-buddy with her aunt, and her aunt's like, listen, you're 16. You don't need to listen to adults. Your father doesn't need to worry about you. You're your own woman, and I am totally projecting because I'm definitely pregnant too, and I'm projecting onto you because I'm going to be a bad mother, and I already know it, and I need to make sure that I ruin my brother's kids before I ruin my own. So go ahead and just do whatever the fuck you want and fuck your dad. And I'm telling you what, this episode made me mad. Because I'm like, God damn, if you were my sister, you'd be living on the street after that one. So she tries to convince her niece to go on this yoga retreat for 3 days. A 16-year-old does not need to go on a yoga retreat for 3 days, especially during school days. I'm sorry, no. So Zoe gets mad and decides that she's a big girl. So she, Pilar, and that fucking mop that Zoe calls a boyfriend find this underground cavern in their school, and they go looking for it, and it's the same place Zane is at. Oh, boy. Well, that big walking mop, who's a big, dumb, big idiot, only has one thing to do when they meet up with Zane. Don't touch anything. And Swish, what does the big, dumb mop do?
Touches everything.
He doesn't know. He touches something. A singular thing. And Zane goes, why? And he goes, I thought it would do something.
Dude, yes, this episode makes me so fucking mad. One, because of Lexi.
Lexi's the worst. Lexi is Jack's sister.
Yes. Two, because that scene specifically right there, Zane looks dead at him, at her fucking boyfriend, and he goes, do not touch anything. And the first fucking thing he does is press a button. What the fuck? Like, who? Like, everybody here has fucking listening problems.
Yup.
God, it pisses me off.
They're not smart at all. So, side plot, we see Captain Eureka, who's just a giant dork who recycles all of his trash and picks them apart all of Eureka's spare leftovers and tries to use them to make a superhero outfit. So, like, if someone finds, like, or creates, like, a pair of busted-up boots that don't work, they recycle it, and this dude repurposes it. And he ends up calling himself Captain Eureka, but he ends up fucking up because he ends up getting this, I don't know what you would even call it, this transmodifier thing that allows him to walk through walls.
Phaser?
Yeah, phaser. Oh, no, that's a Star Trek thing. I don't want to confuse people. He can phase through things. But it doesn't. It works by changing your frequency, so you can vibrate more like vibrate through things. But it vibrates you to a certain
vibrator.
Shut up.
What?
But it vibrates at a different frequency, and it distorts. It changes your frequency permanently, and it starts causing you to vibrate into nothingness. There's a theme in this season apparently. And it also, won't always let you, go through something with all of your limbs, depending on how you vibrate and phase. So it gets to a point where Jack finds out that his daughter's in this underground bunker, and the guy who was Captain Eureka is the recycling dude who's trying to get Lexi's attention. Turns out so is Fargo, because Fargo will chase anything that's wet. So they're running out of air in this bunker, and they're like, Jack, you got to get in to try to jumpstart the what was it? It's basically a giant engine room, and you got to go through 4 doors. They're all fucking thick as hell, so they're gonna make you vibrate faster than Captain Numbnuts in the bed over there. So you're gonna need to hurry your ass up before you phase to a different frequency. Don't even get me started on how he could phase through a different frequency but still run on ground. Maybe the soles of his shoes stayed on the same frequency. I don't fucking know. So he goes through all of them.
You're making a really fucking good point right now.
Yup. So he phases through all the doors, but it turns out that he can push the button. Flashback to the start of the episode. Fargo puts a nano phone in his head because apparently Fargo is just the worst human being around and will not allow anyone to give consent before he does his dumb experiments. And every time he says a Z or a name with a Z, it shocks him. So, or a Z and an H, I think he said. So he ends up using the phone in his neck to create a charge between his fingers, and that boosts the power supply, and all the doors open, and Jack runs to his daughter again. Shoes, I guess, are I don't know. So Zoe runs through her father, and again another reoccurring trend where people run through one another in this show. They end up finding out that there's a way to keep Jack from vibrating to nothingness, and Captain Eureka tried it first because he wants to save the day because he's a giant douchebag.
True.
Yep. Quote of the line is, "We don't have a quantum phasing department, Carter." Well, he didn't buy this. He didn't buy his walk through walls machine at Walk Through Walmart. Fucking Carter, man. I love that man.
What a smart ass.
I have to go catch a 9-fingered superhero. And Henry just nodding, sure. It's the deadpan return from Henry that makes this work. Sure. Fucking Henry. All right, so thoughts on the phasing episode?
It's like another episode where I'm like, fuck, man. They just introduce so much shit that pisses you off. Captain Eureka sucks. It's a dumb idea. Lexi sucks. She's annoying. The fucking boyfriend sucks. He won't fucking listen. And that actually will carry on to a later episode where you realize that he just fucking does shit because he thinks he can.
Oh, wait, who? I was only half paying attention.
The boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. Like the season finale.
Yeah, was it the season? Yeah, it was the season finale, wasn't it?
Yup. What a douche.
Yes, dickhead.
So, I do like this episode. Mostly because I like any episode where Zoe and Jack are their relationship are forefront. I like father-children dynamics because I'm close with my father. So, like, any show that has a strong kind of perspective on that, I'm always going to gravitate to. That's why I think season 4 and 5 lose a bit because Zoe doesn't have as much prominent role because of what we'll talk about at the end of the season. But like this is a great episode for me because it's Jack showing that he will literally kill himself if he has to save his daughter, and I like that. That's a wonderful thing to see on TV. So the next one called "Here Comes the Sun." This one's only kind of interesting.
Here comes the
Sorry.
Plural.
You're plural.
This is true.
Swish is actually a singular for Swy.
Yes.
There's actually 2 Alexes. Individually they're Swy, but together they're Swisher. So basically it's election day.
It's all correct.
It's big dumb. It ends up being a thing where the little girl that Zoe was doing a project with ends up creating a giant mini sun, and it ends up heating Eureka and making it daylight for like 3 days or whatever. And Joe's in a what's the non aggressive term for that shirt that she has?
I've heard it.
15 years ago we would have called it a wife beater, but I don't want to designate that.
Yeah.
A white tank top, would that be fair? A cotton top?
So hold on, it is a tank top. Technically, I think it's like an A-frame or something like that.
An A-frame? I don't know if there's a war happening above my house or if it's lightning. It's quite frequent, though.
Let me see what they're referred to. They're called A-shirts, is basically what they are.
Okay.
Yeah, at least the ones that I buy, because I buy either Hanes or Fruit of the Looms.
Because
I wear
my hands on you.
And yeah, they're called A-shirts. Basically, yes, they are a tank. The thin tank tops. I refer to them as undershirts.
That's a fair way to say it.
Because I wear them under my actual clothes.
The non-PC vernacular is wife beaters. But JoJo has one of those, I'll call them cotton tops on, because that seems appropriate. And she's sweating, and I don't I don't remember anything else about this episode. I don't think we had
I've never been
anything else matters.
happier.
I don't think anything. There is like the end of the episode does have some great dialogue with Zane and Carter. They don't get enough credit together, and like this is the perfect episode to kind of showcase where they are. I read this line to you off air, but Carter's like, Zane, I need help, and he's like, dude, it's like 2 zillion degrees out there. Okay, I'm game. And then Carter goes, do you do anything for fun? Do you do anything normal for fun? And Zane replies with, yeah, I play a wicked game of Yahtzee.
I play a wicked game of Yahtzee.
So they have to send Martha up with like this thing to try to depower the sun. And before they launch it, Zane goes, Carter, whatever happens, it's been fun. And Carter goes, no, it hasn't.
Push the button.
So they extinguish the sun and extinguish the sun. And the candidates were Zoe's dumb boyfriend. And there was a great line before where Zoe's trying to get her boyfriend to stay and win brownie points by being a firm and sturdy leader. And she's like, rebelling against her dad. And Jack says something to the effect like, who do you want to win more points with? Ethan, is that his name? Ethan?
Lucas.
Lucas. Who do you want to win more points with, Lucas? The town or your daughter's boyfriend? And he picks up Zoe and goes, not even a contest, sir. And he zolts out of the fucking Cafe Diem with Zoe on his shoulder. It's fucking...
Man, you fucking butchered that.
I don't care.
Saying... only by one line, though. You said, who do you want to win brownie points with? I believe he says your constituents. And what you said was your daughter's boyfriend.
Oh God! I meant girlfriend's father.
Your girlfriend's father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that was rough. But anyway, it's the one time Lucas doesn't suck this season.
Yes, you're right. It is the one and only time that he's not a complete idiot.
The other candidate is what's his name?
The weatherman.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what his actual...
It's like something Rivera, Herrera. But no, it's the Cafe Diem's cook. What's his name? Ethan, Nathan?
Oh, Vince.
Vincent, there it is.
Vincent.
So basically, the Rivera guy pulls out because he's pretty incompetent, and it's basically Fargo running Vincent's campaign, and Zoe running Lucas's campaign, and they're both basically Karl Roving it, like hard. And then at the end, they're like, and the new mayor is Henry Deacon, and Henry replies so perfectly, "What? No!"
What? No!
and he's like, I wasn't even a candidate. I don't want to be the mayor. And fucking and who else? Who else but goddamn Jack's sister? Oh yeah, I started a big old writing campaign for you. And Jack goes, I voted for you. and Henry's like, I hate every single one of you. So now Henry's the mayor of Eureka.
Yeah, in the end, he kind of accepts it. He's like, yeah, if it means that we get to make Eureka a better place, then I guess I'm in. Reluctantly.
Henry is like the best character in this entire show.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave everything to Henry and Carter, nothing wrong would ever happen.
Nope. Because Carter would be like, wouldn't that be a bad idea? And Henry would go like, yeah, in theory. And then he'd be like, well, how about in theory we don't do anything?
Pretty much, yeah. It literally would be like, oh, we're working on this plan that's going to help us give sentience to... And at sentience, Henry and Carter at the same time would go, no.
How about we have giant... No. But it could explode. No.
Henry and Carter would give an address to the entire town going, henceforth, the following words are completely banned when coming up with new ideas for experiments. Sentience. Giant. Robots.
Explosions.
Fusion.
Even
Vision.
better. Even better. They unfurl it like a Roman thing of
like
paper.
An old scroll.
Yeah, a Roman scroll. Henceforth, these are the only experiments allowed in Eureka. They look at each other. They look back. can't fucking remember the goddamn thing's name. I ruined the bit. I got it. So they unfurl it and go, "This is the only thing allowed in Eureka henceforth. Chia pets," and they roll it back up and leave.
Chia pets.
The very next day, fucking Fargo is like slapping paste on a chia pet head of like Barack Obama. Just going, what has Eureka become? And of course, what's Fargo's little buddy's rival's name?
Larry.
And Larry's just like sitting there with like his like Bill Clinton and like one of like Sally Jesse Raphael going, "I quite like this new Eureka." And Fargo's like, "You would, Larry."
They bust in on Zane with sea monkeys. Zane,
No.
what did we say?
And of course he'd be like, "Carter, just sea monkeys." And then Henry goes, "Zane, why does that one have a nuclear fusion rocket?" "Oh, it worked." Because of course Zane would find a way.
Yeah, I feel like Zane wouldn't even say, "Oh, it worked." Zane would just go, "Huh, wasn't expecting that, but cool."
I feel it would be more along the lines of, they're about 3 hours ahead of where I thought they'd be.
Yeah, they're moving pretty fast.
If you guys give me another 2.5 minutes, I'm pretty sure they're going to invent space travel.
Oh, Zane.
So we then get from fear to eternity. This is the mid-season finale, technically.
Yes.
And of course, the episode starts with the team discovers a doomsday weapon.
Because that's the theme of every season.
Yup.
There's always a doomsday weapon.
So essentially, it's like a different type of atomic bomb, but you launch it underneath the ground, apparently, and it's like far more destructive and has like none of the ramifications of nuclear fallout. But in order to generate it, they had to create some type of substance. And it turns out that when Zoe and company were in the bunker before, Zoe slips and falls and gets it on her, and they think it's just a bruise, but it ends up being so much more, and it ends up being something that basically accelerates Zoe's life to the point where she's 16 and already has cataracts, and she's starting to go pale. And apparently, Ava Thorne is 107 years old, was a member of the crew that was originally working on this Doomsday Project, and her brother and a group of men were also with her. But they were all exposed to the same compound, but for Ava, it froze her, essentially, at her age. And everyone else accelerated to past any type of relative aging in about, what did she say, a month?
Yeah, it was about a month.
Yeah, causing them to die before they could discover a cure. So Ava's been looking for this place for her whole life, hoping to destroy it so that no one could ever use the weapon or get sick like Zoe does. And this episode reveals that Ava's not really a bad person. She's just been playing but like a role to try to get to this point in her life where she could permanently shut this shit down. And that's why she schedules thermal cleaning, and then she schedules, when that gets shut down, she schedules this encasing, essentially. And Jack and her get caught in there, and she was gonna, I don't even know if it would have killed her, but she was gonna, lock herself away underneath and just kind of wait for the inevitable, I guess. But then she and Jack get stuck in there, and they end up getting out thanks to Zane, because Zane is just a fucking catch-all idea for escapism, I guess. But the best part of this episode is that Zane and Joe get stuck together while in the middle of a serious conflict, because I think Zoe says "I love you" to Zane, and Zane doesn't say it back. So not Zoe. Oh my God, I didn't jump. I didn't match that. I didn't mix that up. I jumped the gun on that one. Season 4. But so Zane and Joe are stuck together. Zane has to get them unstuck, and Joe's all pissed off, and Zane's all pissed off. They eventually make up, because of course they do. But they end up getting Ava Thorne out of there, and I forget how they cured Zoe, but they eventually do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
They eventually everything gets taken care of underneath, and Ava Thorne disappears into the wild like a Pokemon, Henry even drives her to the bus, and at the end of the episode, Mansfield's like, "Listen, Carter, you've been fucking yelling at me for like 8 episodes, sir? I mean weeks, about this Ava Thorne lady and how she's terrible. I finally tell you to arrest her and you let her go." Jack's like, "Yeah, I'm not really good at my job." And the general's like, "Yeah, I noticed. That's why you're fired." And Jack's like, "I really got to stop leading with that."
Yep.
So that's how the mid-season finale ends. Jack gets fired.
Oh, Carter, look at what you've gotten yourself into.
Carter, you can't keep saying, "Well, why don't you fire me then?" Because one day they will.
Because one day they will.
So Lexi's still here.
Unfortunately.
Yep. And Zoe's still here. They're still living in Eureka, but they are quickly finding out that they're going to need to move soon.
Yes.
So Jack ends up getting a job, what was it, with the Treasury or Secret Service?
Maybe like Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that means he's going to have to move back to L.A. That upsets Zoe, but Jack eventually says, if you really want to stay, you can. I trust you. This is your home. And I believe this was also the point in the episode or the point in the season where we find out that Lexi never told her boyfriend about the babies, the Barbarinos, and he's in town now. And she's wearing this hideaway maternity clothes that shouldn't work because that's not how physics works. But
yeah, it was a thing.
It slims her out to look unpregnant. So when the boyfriend finds her, she looks just like the day she left. So he thinks everything's all hunky dory. I'm pretty sure that's this episode, right?
Probably.
Welcome
Maybe.
Welcome back, Carter.
No, it's not easy being green. Duncan, because he cures the ailment with like a mud bath or something.
Oh God, fucking Zoe's around. Not Zoe. Lexi's around for another 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ. All right. Anyway, so we'll get to him here in a second. So welcome back, Carter. All the stuff that we mentioned before about Carter and Zoe is still there. They're all trying to get him to stay. Hey, why don't you stay? And Carter's like, "I got fired, y'all. You don't know what getting fired is, apparently, because I can't just stay. I'm pretty sure this house is for the sheriff," which is ironic because Sheriff Handy will, in fact, move into that house at one point. Spoilers. So eventually they reveal Sheriff Andy, who's played by the guy from Battlestar Galactica and Supernatural. I forget his real name, but he's there for at least 2 episodes, and then he's not for some reason. They straight up replaced this dude for no reason, and I don't know why. It doesn't make a lick of sense. So anyway. He's a prototype sheriff, and he can do all the things that a whole slew of law enforcement can do. And he can do it perfectly because he's a robot. And of course, that means in Eureka, all sorts of shenaniganry. So Jack ends up, obviously getting fired. Joe resigns in protest. And they end up finding out that gravity is all kinds of fucked for some reason. Trees are falling down randomly. And then at one point, Sheriff Andy gets all Looney Tunes to hell.
Yeah.
Jack's trying to convince him to go and investigate this lady who's making trees. And Sheriff Andy's like, "I don't think trees are the issue, Jack." And Andy's like a real nice, kind of like not Barney Fife. What was Barney Fife's sheriff's name? Andy Griffith. Real Andy Griffith motherfucker. And he's all like, "Listen, Jack, I understand it's hard that you got fired. And I appreciate your service to the town. I truly do. But I got this from here, bud." And you're like, you want to hate Andy, but you kind of can't. So at one point, Andy's investigating this giant disc of sorts. And it's like really fucking light. And it ends up falling over and crushing Andy into little bits. And when Henry goes over to look at it, he's like, "This shit's light for a reason, Jack. It's not supposed to be strong enough to crush Andy into little bits." And they're like, "It's got to be the trees." I don't know why it's got to be the trees, but it's got to be the trees. Ty Olson is, by the way, is the name of the guy who plays Andy. So they end up going to find the tree lady again. She's like, yeah, I totally fucked with the trees. My bad. So, wait, wasn't that what it was?
No, she said that she was growing the trees, but they're supposed to be super durable, so there's not. It doesn't make sense as to why they would just fall over all of a sudden.
No, but there's gravity anomalies. I thought it had something to do with like her acceleration.
Trying
Oh
to
wait,
remember.
no. I forgot who it was. I think it was the dude who created the drone, because they end up having to go to like a barn to turn off like this gravity well machine.
I remember, yeah. There was a guy who had created like a birthing chamber,
That's
like a
what it
zero
was.
gravity birthing
Yes.
chamber.
And
But it turns out he didn't know what the fuck he was doing, because he like stole the work from someone else.
oh no, he got it from Sarah. Sarah was talking to the birthing guy in some sort of like virtual chat room. And Sarah was the one causing all the anomalies to make Jack stay.
Yeah.
That's it. We
Yes.
figured it out. We're detectives now. Ha!
Yes. She wanted to crush Sheriff Andy so that Sheriff Carter could get his job back.
Yes. And she ends up creating something that went out of control. And you're right. The guy who invented the zero gravity machine didn't know what the fuck he was doing, so they couldn't turn it off. So Jack and Sheriff Andy end up going to save the day, even after Sheriff Andy's like, listen, I'm supposed to protect myself as much as the town, and this would surely kill me, so I'm going to have to sit this one out, General Mansfield. And Carter's like, I'll fucking do it, I guess. I don't care. And Andy's like, you only have like a 10% chance of surviving this, Jack. And Jack's like, those are pretty high odds, actually. So they end up, the entire fucking scene where Jack's trying to turn off the gravity well, Looney Tunes. Just fucking Looney Tunes the out. Because, like, he's trying to avoid these gravity wells, and at one point he's like, how hard could it be? And he's running, and he's, like, sliding, and then he falls. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Oh, it's such a good episode. It's shockingly good episode. Because I was going through I was going through it in my head. I'm like, oh, this one, I don't know if I remember liking this one. But then, like, the shit with Andy always getting crushed, and Jack fucking Looney Tunes at the end, like, it's solid stuff. Plus Ty Olson. Gotta love it. All right, are you ready for maybe the best episode of the season?
Oh, yes. I thought I was looking at the list of episodes. I was like, "What's next?" And the first one that caught my eye was Insane in the Pea Brain. I was like, "Liar." No, Your Face or Mine.
Yes. So this one was directed by Colin Ferguson, aka Jack Carter. So he has to go to the biannual Department of Defense recertification test. And the episode starts with Jack walking up with Allison and Joe walking out of hers. And Jack's like, how'd you do? And Joe's like, what? And then the lady goes, she had a perfect score. And Fargo says something dumb like, yeah, of course she's perfect. And Joe's like, go easy on him or something like that. And Jack's like, ah. So Joe's in charge for the day. And she's babysitting Zoe. What could go wrong? And apparently it takes 48 hours to push a button. Because that's how long Jack has to push a button. I love the scenes with Jack in this room. So it starts off with him like in the middle of the room and it's like, push the button. Jack's like, oh, okay. And then like as he goes to walk, the floor descends around him. Again, forcing me to ask, how big is this place? Because it's like fucking 10 stories down, right?
Yep.
Granted,
it's a long drop.
But it's also cushioned because Jack does fall off the edge more than once. I think he falls. He falls completely once, and then he slips off the edge once. So it can't be a hard surface because he would have died.
Yeah, there's no, like, he definitely, like, would have hit terminal velocity and just exploded upon hitting the ground.
I mean, essentially. So it's got to be, like, some kind of cushion. So he has to push this button, but there's no way to get there. So they give him like a pack of cards, and he flings it at the damn button, thinking that would work because he's Gambit apparently. The card settles on nothing, but it's floating. So Jack realizes that there's a floor of sorts. So he starts flipping the cards around, and he finds a way to get to the edge, and like he gets right where he needs to be, and then he finds out that he's short. He can't reach the button. Then all the way back at the station, like a bunch of straws pop out.
Yep.
And Carnage just gets so mad, so he has to go back and get the straws. And I think like he puts all the straws together to try to poke the button, and that doesn't work. I forgot how he actually ends up hitting the button. He throws something at it. I know.
So they gave him a panic button, which is like almost is like a pocket flashlight in its shape and size, and it has a red button on top, almost like a buzzer.
It looks like a buzzer, like a detonation device.
Yes. And he comes to the realization because the lady told him, "You'll have all the tools you'll need." He walks up, he gets back to the first thing, lines up his shot, and baseball, just a straight pitch, throws it at the button and hits it.
So he ends up winning, but then the thing floods with water, and it becomes a gag at that point because we don't know what else happens to Jack until the end of the episode when he gets out.
Yes.
So that was fun as hell. I love that entire sequence. For the main plot, though, what's that?
I said it's fantastic.
It is fantastic. The main plot, though, follows Joe as she takes over the sheriff's department for the day while watching Zoe. Basically, it becomes a Freaky Friday situation. There's a woman who works for Eureka that actually has a crush on Fargo because I guess there's someone for everyone, I guess. And what were we going to say?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because he's Fargo, but whatever.
It's just Fargo. That's all you got to know. Her name is Julia Golden. Now Julia is this is who Julia is right here. This woman is Julia. They pulled back her hair and they put her on in glasses, and we're supposed to think she's not stupid gorgeous. Yet here we are. But apparently Fargo doesn't notice her because Fargo's an idiot.
This is true.
And throughout the entire episode, Fargo's like, Joe's perfect, Joe's the best, yada, 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 yada. And this is giving her some serious body dysmorphia, and she's like, I'm going to turn into Joe. So she starts playing with her own DNA, and she turns herself into Joe. And Julia Joe, if you will, goes out clubbing with Zoe and makes out with Fargo, and Zane's like, this is some weird shit. And eventually, Joe wakes up and realizes what the fuck's going on. Someone's been fucking with her life, so she ends up tracking down Julia, and Julia's like, listen, yeah, I was screwing with your life, but it's only because you're so perfect, and I'm so only 9.5, and you're a hard 10. And Joe's like, you're at least a 10, because I'm a 10, and 10's no 10s. But that's not enough for her, so she ends up zapping Joe and turning Joe into Julia. So now Julia's Joe and Joe's Julia, and if I haven't confused anyone, I haven't done my job. Eventually, though, what's that?
Ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous. It is. Zane figures out who's who because Julia Joe knows all about... I fucked myself up. I don't know which one I'm referring to. Joe as Julia is able to convince Zane of who she is because of their shared history, while Julia as Joe ends up having a date with Fargo, but Fargo realizes something's wrong, and that's where Julia comes clean about the fact that she's basically body jumping with Joe. So they figure out a way to stabilize the process that Julia has done, and because this is Eureka, no one can be held responsible. Julia doesn't even get fired because she created a brand new thing, and of course, science top laws in this country. This city, I should say. It's a thing.
It's a ridiculous premise, but I mean, they did what they could with it.
Listen, I'm never gonna have a problem seeing beautiful women on screen. I refuse. And considering how few times we actually see Leila Sylvester play Julia, I'm fine with any and all scenes that we get of her.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, It was a good episode nonetheless.
Yeah.
Mainly just because it doubles down, it like triples down on Carter being a cartoon character. Oh
I
yeah, the episode ends with them getting Carter out of his test. He passed, but he didn't pass well enough where he only has to take it every 2 years. So he has to take his test every year.
Yeah. So the line goes something to the effect like Joe walks up and goes, "How do you do?" And the lady goes, "He did well. He passed." And then Jack goes, "I don't have to see you for another 2 years." And the lady goes, "Didn't pass that well."
Yeah.
And Jack's just like, "Wait, what?" And of
But
course,
yeah, I think the test lady goes, "I'll see you next year," and he goes, "Wait, isn't it supposed to be every 2 years?" And she goes, "You didn't do that well."
and of course, Joe loved it. Oh, that's the best part. Joe comes out. She's like, "That was fun." Let's see. Next episode, only relevant because we meet Tess Fontana, and Tess is kind of a giant pain in the ass.
And the rest of this episode is annoying as shit.
Yep. The only other point of contention with this episode is why Tess is here, and that's because Allison has discovered something coming from deep space heading towards Eureka, and Tess is here to help them figure out what it is and if they have to do anything about it before it gets here.
Yes.
The
And-
long and skinny is they end up trapped in a different reality, or like a different pocket verse, if you will. They can interact with everyone, but they're outside of known time and space, and they're just assumed to be ghosts. And they figure out a way back, and yay!
Yep. I guess so in order to have Tess be able to figure out what is heading towards Earth and Eureka, she makes her the new leader of Section 5.
Yes,
Which
doesn't
no
sit
one
well
is
with
happy
anyone.
about.
Yeah, no one likes that, especially Henry.
Henry hates it.
Yes. Next episode's even worse. It's not easy being green.
God, yeah.
It's rough. We get another supernatural character popping up. At least I think he was in Supernatural. His name's Bismarck in the show. Toby Bismarck. Sean Owen Roberts.
Toby Bismarck.
Pretty sure he was in
Yeah.
the season with the Leviathan, so season 7 of Supernatural. Yep, he was Chet the Leviathan. So basically, Area 51, which does not contain any aliens, just another kind of facility like Eureka, comes to a bowling match. They used green paint on the folks from Eureka, and then this giant cleaning thing starts eating everyone, and it's basically just like a late 70s version of like a monster movie.
Yeah,
like a
this
late
dude,
50s.
one of the dudes on the Eureka bowling team had a pet slime that he was
Big
feeding.
Ed.
Yeah, Big Ed had a pet slime that he was feeding gamma radiation. I think he was like feeding it the element was called globidium.
Yep.
Um,
By the by,
and-
Big Ed's another supernatural character. He played the Golem.
yeah. So yeah, they have to get all the globidium power cells back so they can power a telescope. The power cells were stolen by Big Ed to feed the slime. The slime then becomes like a monster that's devouring microorganisms. It's also giving people like dosing people with gamma radiation. Lexi's boyfriend Duncan comes into town, and he cures the gamma radiation with a fucking mud bath apparently. So they I don't remember exactly how they defeat it, but they do.
They feed it something that it doesn't like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Yay.
this episode's also the
Today-
episode where they figure out that Lexi is preggers, or at least Lexi's boyfriend figures out she's preggers, and he walks off at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes the next episode weird because he doesn't factor into the main storyline at all. And you would think
Yeah,
he
it's
would,
very weird.
considering he's a
Yeah,
doctor.
he could totally just stay in Eureka and be a doctor there. the whole point of contention between Lexi and Duncan is that Lexi doesn't want Duncan to give up his life for her.
Well, there's also
Which,
she doesn't want him to feel obligated to be with her. She wants him to be with her for her, not because she's pregnant with his kids.
right.
So she doesn't even know completely what she's doing and why she's doing
No, she doesn't. She's just being annoying for the sake of being annoying.
Yep. Because she's the worst character on the show. So basically, if you build, it's an episode where they put in smart asphalt. It's a thing, apparently. And it allows cars to drive by themselves. But something is causing everyone who's attached to the system and their cars to wake up in the middle of the night and build things. They're basically building a Hayes, Bixen, Bozeman, something or other. It's a giant catcher's mitch. And throughout the episode, everyone's telling Allison, hey, this is probably a good thing. Don't blow it up. And Allison's like, I'm totally going to blow it up. And they're like, no, don't blow it up. You're going to nuke the world. I'm going to blow it up. And everyone's like, that's a bad idea, Allie. And she's like, I'll fucking have GD, fuck off. And then Fargo shows up and he's like, listen, bitch, my car says you can't blow it up. And Allison's like, oh, okay, no, I believe you. And then the ship lands. And Tess and Carter start to get like canoodling over pizza. It's terrible pizza, but it's still pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So, fun little factoid. My favorite bad pizza in comic and cartoon history is the banana pizza that Doug makes in Doug, the show. Yeah, you ever see that episode?
Probably like way back in the day, but
Duck and Patty make a pizza in cooking class while Roger's stuck with Mrs. Krabappel or whatever her name is. And they try to make banana pudding, but Roger fucks it up. So Roger's like trying to throw the shit out before someone can find out he's terrible at cooking. And he crashes into Patty and Doug and the pizza and the pineapple stuff all like goes on top of the pizza. And then they're like, ooh, this is the best pizza ever. And I'm like, I would try that.
that sounds awful to me.
Yeah, I know. It sounds terrible, but it looked fantastic. You know, for a 1993 cartoon. So eventually,
No, go ahead.
so eventually the ship lands, and they're all like, "Hey, there's a ship." And Allie's like, "I should have blown up the goddamn array." Oh, also in this episode, apparently Fargo has he has a car with a sentient computer in it. And he's a genius, mind you. He's a doctor in like 40 different fields. He can create things that save the world, but he's not smart enough to think, why don't I just install you in my new car? Because he wants to get a new car, so he ends up selling the old car to Larry, because of course he does. And the car's not happy about being left behind because he gave a car sentience. What did he expect to happen? And throughout the entire episode, he never once thought, I should just put you in a new body. Until the end when he goes, I know, I'll take care of you. I'll put you in a new body. Sometimes we have to be dumb to figure out the easiest solutions. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Ship happens, kind of a rough one. We end up finding out that the ship lands and Kim comes out from season 1. What's up, Kim? It's not really Kim. It's the ship. And the ship's like, I had to figure out a new way to make information storage. So I made a human being, because apparently a cell, like a singular human cell, can hold more than a computer chip or some bullshit like that. So now Kim exists with all of the information that the ship has gathered. What? This episode's full of holes. Basically, they treat her like a machine, like a piece of thing. But all the organic computers start malfunctioning. Kim's like, I can fix it. And they're like, all right, let's fix it. And then she fixed it. Also, Zoe's gone. Not Zoe. What's her name? Abby? Lexi? Lexi. She's gone. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Thank God.
Yep. Next episode's all about how Henry has to deal with the loss of Kim. Again, he starts to fall in love with her, because of course he does. He's Henry. They end up realizing that Kim is breaking down, and unless they literally dissolve a living sentient being in a solution of acid, they will lose all the information forever, but she's going to die anyway, so it's like, We'll Kevorkian her. It's cool. We also find out that what the hell happened to Tess in this episode? Oh, that's right. This was the synth water.
Shower the people?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the synthetic water.
I forget how, because three chicks go to this fucking spa thing, and Tess ends up joining them, and all three women end up dying throughout the episode because they start coughing up water uncontrollably because the place where the water is being created, the synth water, it's running through cooling tubes throughout Eureka, and one of them happens to be the same chamber that they're going to dissolve Kim in. So that radiation is causing the synth water to basically break down at random. So all these women inhaled the synth water in this facility through their pores and their lungs, and it starts to break down throughout the episode, throughout them. So they got to figure out a way to fucking cure them. All three die except for Tess because she's the only main character. And they're like, that shit that we tried to do with Kim, let's just do it with Tess. That'll work. And they're like, yeah, I guess. Science. They end up saving Tess and... Yeah. And the Rocketeer was in it, so that was cool. That's about it. You have anything else you want to add, Charlotte people? Except for the fact the chick who was making the synth water looks super fine in a diving suit.
Oh, they thought Carter was had the synth water inside of him, but it turns out he didn't. He actually was just having sympathy pains. He was going through a sympathetic pregnancy for Allison.
No, he wasn't. He had a mirroring device on him that they forgot about.
That's right. Yeah, the mirroring device. It was supposed to be so that it was a device that was supposed to connect Allison to the baby, but it ended up connecting Jack to Allison.
Because of course it did. Because at one point, Jack falls and he's like, "Oh, I'm dying." Goddamn. Oh, by the by, do you want to take a stab at the name of the hot doctor in the scuba suit?
No.
Go on, take a stab.
You're asking me to take a stab, so I know I'm not gonna get it. So you might as well just tell me.
It's a pun. It's Dr. Pun Name. She works with water.
I don't know.
Dr. Rivers.
Of course.
Played by the gorgeous Laura Minnell. So then you don't know Jack. It's literally just a clip episode. Allison gives birth to her baby, and they write out Allison for the rest of the season because she actually is about to give birth in real life. It has a 7.2 on IMDb. It's the lowest rated episode for good reasons. We're skipping it. Oh, and by the by, the thermal cleaning that was supposed to happen in Eureka, the whole reason it gets fucked up is because of Fargo. I mean, Bedoy. So the last two episodes are actually really good. Have a Nice Day and What Goes Around Comes Around. So Tess is now in control of Eureka because Allison is on maternity leave. There was a rumor going around that I was able to dig up that they weren't sure if, what was her name? Sally Michael Richardson or Sally something?
Sally Richardson Whitfield.
Nope, it's not Allie.
I just said it. If you would, what?
You said Allie Richardson Whitfield.
No, I didn't. I said Sally.
No, you did not. I promise you.
Oh my God. Okay, then what you are hearing is Discord not picking up my microphone soon enough.
Well, then you need to speak slower so that the microphone...
I'm gonna punch you through this fucking screen.
You can try, motherfucker.
I'll make it happen.
So the rumor was that that Sally Richardson Whitfield wasn't totally sold on coming back for season 4 because she just had a new baby. So the theory was to put Tess in a position where if they needed to, they would have someone to take over that spot. But if they didn't need her, they would write her off. So she ends up getting written off because Sally comes back. That's a good song for a punk band. Sally Comes Back. Oof. I like that idea. Anyway, so again, this show makes no sense. A 40-mile-long truck comes driving through Eureka, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, the Arctic core. The Arctic ice core.
It's probably only like 10 miles long. I'm not kidding about the 10 miles. Like, it's probably about 10 miles long.
No, it's a huge fucking ice core. It's gigantic.
And we open up the episode with Jack and Joe shutting down a road on the side of a mountain to allow this transport to come through. And Jack's like, why do we even need to be up here? Like, what are they transporting? And then this giant ass thing just flies by, and Jack's like, huh, okay. So it's a giant ice core. Zane had gone up to Russia to go get it. They bring back Sergey. I don't know if that's his real name. We're going to call him Sergey. Sergey is a general or a captain or something. He's a chief of defense, chief secretary. He's a chief something or other. And he doesn't want to go back to Russia because it's fucking cold. We get you. We get you, Sergey. So he won't sign off on the protection papers or what have you to officially transport the core over to the townsfolk of Eureka because he wants to stay in Eureka, go shopping in American malls and such. All right, fair enough.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he literally says, he's like, the village I come from is just a fucking, like, science, like, military science base. There's nothing to do. It fucking sucks. It's cold. I like it here.
He even goes on to say, do you know what it's like to be stuck in Arctic with a bunch of mad scientists? And Jack looks around. Yeah, I have an idea. Because everyone's a dick. Zane's with them, and Zane's acting all weird and peculiar, real fucking Frosty-like. And, yeah, he's all like, yeah, I don't give a shit about anything. But then who comes through the tundra? The big, woolly serpentine. It's Taggart! Because apparently Taggart left.
Taggart.
He left the town, and no one said anything until right now.
Yeah, wait, he's gone for like what? What did they say? Like
a year?
Month? Yeah, it wasn't. It was a couple of months, I think.
Well, no, it's been about a year in the show because fucking Allison gave birth in 9 months. So it's been about a year.
Well, Taggart's been gone. Zane was only gone for like
a
couple months.
Zane wasn't even gone that long. He's gone for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I don't even think it was that long because he was in Ship Happens.
Yep.
So he was only gone for like 2 weeks. Or 2 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So Taggart's back and he basically says, hey, I know I didn't leave without telling you. And Joe's like, yeah, you fucking think. And he's like, I don't know why you're mad. You were already shagging fucking Zane before I was gone. And Joe's like, well, that's not the point. And Taggart's like, that's kind of the point. Joe's like, well, fair enough. So Taggart is the best part of the episode. They find out that there's this dark ice crystal thing that Zane has in his system that his thermalware, Thermatech, whatever it's fucking called, is incubating and keeping alive. So they end up having to find a way to treat Zane, and then the ice starts spreading throughout Eureka because of course it does. And Tess is like, it's my first fucking day. And Jack's like, yeah, this is a daily occurrence though. Eventually though, they figure out how to get rid of the ice. They literally set up a MacGuffin in the first part of the episode where Carter's like, I'm supposed to find out if this transport tube thing works. Do we even have that? And Joe, like, lifts a fucking painting and there's like a mail service device right there where you can send shit. And of course she picks up Jack's fucking signed baseball and puts it in there and sends it off to God knows where. And Jack's just like, my baseball.
Yeah. If you don't think that this show relies heavily on like theater tropes, you're absolutely wrong because like in this episode alone they set up a Chekhov's gun and an Occam's razor.
All right, the Chekhov's gun is the unit that uses the heat. What's the Occam's razor in this one?
So literally the Chekhov's gun is the Occam's razor. So they're like, here's this system that we don't use anymore. This is the Chekhov's gun. It's gonna come back into play in the final, scenes of the episode. And then they're just like, how do we spread this so quickly? Could we build the blah blah blah? Could we, make sure this doesn't get frozen? And dumbass Carter just goes, Vincent, do you have a tube system in here? And then he just fucking opens the tube system and they fucking spread it through that.
I mean, of course they do.
Yeah, of course they do. It's the easiest answer. So why would they? They set up the easy answer in scene 1, and then in Act 1, and then in Act 3 they come back and use the easiest answer.
The best part though is that when the entire cafe diem is freezing over, Zoe gets everyone into the freezer because it's like 40 degrees and like everything else is going like sub-zero.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoe. And then in Act 4, we see that Tess is like, hey, you want a bone, Carter? And Carter's like, God, yes. Or something to that effect.
He's like, I guess.
I guess a hot redhead and fucking the world almost went to ice hell. Like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
It's like, you're only gonna be gone here soon, so might as well get it out of the way.
We might as well at least make some memories. So in the final episode, Jack gets revealed through Fargo's hot girlfriend that there's something called Nemesis and it's going to destroy the Earth. And Jack's like, okay, who do we talk to about this? Well, how long do we have? And fucking Fargo's girlfriend's like, if we're lucky, 2, maybe 3,000 years. And Jack just stops and goes, never mind. And he leaves.
Oh, man.
So Jack also gets hit with another bombshell. Henry's a giant dick. And he gave Zoe a glowing recommendation to like Harvard, I think is what it was.
Yep.
And
MIT.
MIT?
Yes.
No, it's Harvard.
No, MIT.
I'm pretty sure it's Harvard because he opens up in season 4 going as Zoe still at Harvard.
As Zoe prepares to leave for college, a number of Eureka citizens begin discussing the return of Nemesis, a neutron star theorized to pass through the solar system for regular intervals, causing major extinction events. Lucas is considering a disaster close to home, Zoe's imminent absence. In an attempt to gain a similar early start at MIT,
You're going to
he
want to
creates a
remember
device.
this. Zoe's going to Harvard for medical. And the only school near Harvard, which is in Massachusetts, is MIT, which is where Lucas is going because he's into robotics. You forgot about that one, didn't you?
No, I still think I'm right.
I know you're wrong. I just watched episode 2 of season 4, and Carter busts into Sarah going, is Zoe still at Harvard?
Here's the thing. In my heart of hearts, I know, but
You just
I
can't
am
remember.
refusing to. I am refusing adamantly to give you the satisfaction.
I respect the pigheadedness. I respect it.
So no, she's going to MIT. Fuck you.
There's an entire episode. I which one was it? Was it I think it was Shower of the People where Lucas is trying to get her into robotics and she makes like a stupid little what are those things called? Kinects? She makes like a stupid little Kinect robot.
Yeah, maybe.
Fucking Christ. So Lucas was trying to get Henry to give him a recommendation to MIT, and the only way to do so is if he recreates the Nemesis thing of a bobber and then finds a solution to it, which he does because fucking Eureka. But along the way, like everything gets fucking destroyed, and Carter's none too happy with anyone. But what is he gonna do? Oh, he saves the day. Then Tess goes, "Hey, I got a big job offer. I'm going to Australia." And he's like, "Okay."
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah. This dude's so worried about not being able to be with his girlfriend, he creates a new magnetic pole over Eureka.
Yep.
You fucking idiot. He has like his whole character arc thing is like he's supposed to have like the 3rd highest IQ in the world. Or something like that?
No, 3rd highest in the school.
3rd highest in the school?
Yeah, because
I thought they said he
it-
had the 3rd highest in the world.
No, because it's a school full of geniuses, and he's like, "You got the 3rd highest in the school," and he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty impressive, but you're still an idiot because Pilar constantly dunks on Lucas because Pilar gives 0 fucks about anyone." So he creates.
Okay, I just wanted to look it up to make sure. Apparently, it's never said outright whether or not, but it's apparently Pilar. It may have been sarcasm, but Pilar said he had the 3rd highest recorded IQ. So we don't know if she meant in the school or in the world.
It's
but
in the school.
We don't even know.
It was in the context of the scores they got, because it was around the time that Zoe was taking her IQ test.
Well,
So,
he's an idiot.
Yes, he is. He's the big dumb. So there's a great line where Henry's explaining like what's happening and how Eureka's about to be the new North Pole. And Lucas goes, "I swear I had no idea," because he's a giant simpering little bitch. And Carter goes, "Well, you're gonna have to tell Santa that he needs to move his workshop."
God damn you, Carter. What a
So the best part of the episode is Jack is looking for Fargo, and he goes to his office. And throughout the episode, Fargo's afraid that Nemesis is going to kill him, in 2,000 years when he'll definitely already be just mush in the ground. So he's trying to knock off things off his bucket list. Skydiving, fucking sled riding, high-fiving a raccoon, I don't know. And he's nearly dying after all of these things. And Fargo's like, I gotta get all these things crossed off. And his girlfriend goes, "There's something else we could do." And Fargo's like, "What would we do?" And she's kind of like, "Really? How stupid are you?" And she whispers in his ear, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So later on in the episode, Jack's looking for Fargo, and he walks into his office, and there's Fargo buck-ass naked going, "Hey, Sheriff, you all right?" And then you see Fargo's girlfriend kind of like peek her head up around Fargo, also buck-ass naked. And Jack's like, Fargo! I don't need to see that. Just come with me.
Yep.
And then Fargo does not leave, but I'm sure he comes. Oh!
Thank you all for listening to another edition.
Still going.
God damn it. Can we end this?
So there's another great line. So the laws of physics are in peril. My daughter's moving out, and the world's coming to an end. And Joe just hands him a muffin and goes, "Have the muffin." Because he's trying to watch his blood pressure. Because apparently muffins cause high blood pressure. I didn't know that.
I guess.
It's a thing. So the episode ends with Jack literally just standing in his house by himself. Allison's, taking care of another man's baby. His daughter is off going to Harvard. And Tess is getting on a plane to fucking Australia, which is definitely not Eureka. And Carter's just like, all by myself. Oh, and Larry invented a fembot.
Oh, yeah.
And literally, there's an entire line. He's like, "What is that even for?" And I think Joe says, "It's in the name, Carter." Oh, God, this show.
Larry.
So the fucking fembot breaks, and Larry's like, "It's completely not responsive." And what does Carter say? "Maybe she's just not into you, Larry." Christ, Jack. Oh, fucking hell. So favorite episodes, least favorite episodes. What you got?
Least favorite episodes. Any episode that revolved around Lexi.
You're not wrong.
It's not easy being green. Sucked. What about Bob and Bad to the Drone are kind of like really bad episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, the best 2 episodes of the season. If I had to give my top 3, number 1 is Best in Foe. Number 2 is Your Face or Mine. And number 3 is Welcome Back, Carter, because of Sheriff Andy and the fucking Looney Tunes antics.
All right. For me, number 3 is Have a Nice Day because Taggart.
Oh, yeah.
You gots to have me some Taggart.
Yeah, Have a Nice Day is up there as well.
My number 2 is probably I Do Over.
Oh, that's a good episode.
And then my number 1 would probably be Your Face or Mine.
Yeah, that's
hotness.
Yes. I Do Over and Have a Nice Day are probably like 4 and 5 for me. Like, those, like I think we between the two of us, we've listed the best 5 episodes of the season. In my opinion.
I think Phased and Confused and Show Me the Mummy are just above Best in Foe, but Best in Foe is pretty good just because of Alan Ruckman screaming, "Sheriff, we found magma!"
We found magma! Yeah, and their constant dad banter to one another.
Basically. Although Alan Rickman's characters in that, or Rickman, what's his name? Alan Rickman? Is that right?
Alan Ruck.
Ruck. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Alan Rickman's
Alan
character.
Rickman was Snape.
Yes. So Alan Rickman doesn't even have kids, and he's got all the dad jokes.
You just called him Alan Rickman again.
No, I said Ruckman. It must have been Skype.
It's
or,
it's not
Discord.
Ruckman. It's just Alan Ruck.
Oh, okay. That's what I was getting. Yeah, Alan Ruck. So Alan Ruck's character doesn't even have kids, but he does he does talk about Fargo, and he's like, you know Fargo? Yeah, that little man had some crazy times. I want to know all those stories about him and Fargo.
Yeah, he apparently has a lot of crazy stories about him and Fargo. So,
my least favorite is probably, I would say anything involving the Kimbot. And
yeah.
So those two are definitely my least favorite. Although it does give me a brief glimpse of the Rocketeer. So I would say, one being the worst, three being the least worst of them. I would say, Shower the People, Ship Happens, and then number one has to be You Don't Know Jack because it's literally a fucking clip episode.
Yeah. I love how on the Wikipedia description for You Don't Know Jack, it says Tessa's collecting memories for a time capsule. Jack and Allison are trapped inside during a sonic cleaning at Global Dynamics when the townsfolk Eureka begin to suffer lacunar amnesia. Allison's baby is born, and then in parentheses, although this is a clip show, it has a full plot.
It's a fucking 20-second plot.
Barely has a plot.
Oh, God.
I will say that I will give, so if my top 5 are the ones that we listed, number 6 right there, almost edging its way in, is Shower the People for Dr. Rivers.
Oh yeah, Dr. Rivers in that fucking suit. Ooh.
Yep. So.
She looking fierce. All right, so next week we're talking season 4.
Season 4, which I'm excited specifically for episode 5, Crossing Over, because Allison Scagliotti will be on it.
Yes, and maybe one day we'll do her show, Warehouse 13, which is a crossover show.
Yeah,
she's fan-fucking-tastic. I didn't know you knew who Allison Scagliotti is.
Allison Scagliotti was a significant part of my childhood because she played Mindy Crenshaw on Drake and Josh.
Oh, she did she?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't know what else I know her from.
She was...
I know I've seen her in other things.
She was Jay from the Wonder Twins. She was Abby in One Tree Hill, the girl in the school shooting who was diabetic.
Yes. I remember when we watched that episode, I was like, Abby looks so familiar when we were talking about it, and I was like, oh, because it's Allison Scagliotti.
She's pretty church, man. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, she was in Drake and Josh, and in Drake and Josh, she was like kind of a bitch, and she was like Josh's rival, and then his girlfriend, and she was like kind of attractive, but then as you get older and you get out of the awkward years,
you're supposed to get out of those.
Yeah, I know. I think actually women get out of those years. Men do not.
Because I'm still in mine.
Yeah, me too, bud.
I'll tell you what, she's cute, obviously, in Drake and Josh, but I'll tell you what, if you hold up a picture of her in Drake and Josh and now, I would not know they were the same person. There's one photo I can find where I'm like, that kind of looks like her. Holy hell. I think it's the red hair. As soon as she went red hair, it turned her entire persona around.
Could be it.
I'll tell you what. Warehouse 13 is a real damn solid show with some real good lookers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Super fucking solid. It features more mystical stuff than it does scientific stuff, but it still kind of has a science flavor to it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch the first episode just for shits and giggles, so you can see Joanne Kelly and Janelle Williams. Oh, Janelle Williams. You do things to my soul. I'm serious. Janelle Williams is Yes, please.
I believe you.
Yes, please.
Yes, so we're gonna be doing season 4 next week, and then after that, who knows what we're getting into? Well, we're getting into season 5 the week after that, and then
We have a list of things.
we have ideas, which for the first time in probably like 2 years, you and I, instead of going from like idea to idea, have actually written down shit. So yeah, we got some plans, but
We got some summer shows coming up in July.
yes, we have some summer blast movies, uh beach movies, teen summer romances, whatever has to do with the hell-raising heat of the summer. We'll be talking about movies like that. So keep an eye out for that. Chad, you want to go ahead and give him the rundown?
RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NerdCorp. We're on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. We're also on Podbean at RealNerdCorp.podbean.com or on Spotify at NerdCorp or on iTunes at NerdCorp. You can also download the Spotify app or the iTunes app or the Podbean app and search Real NerdCorp or NerdCorp for all three devices. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground, and twitch.tv/ComicCorp. Swish, where are you at?
You can find my personal stuff. I'm on Twitter at x2000gregs, x2000gregs, and you can find me on not Tumblr. I'm not on Tumblr anymore. You can find me on Instagram at 2000gregs, 2000gregs. Chad, where can they find your personal stuff?
I'm on Chad's Photo Hut on Instagram, ChadSPHOTOHUT. I'm also at Chad NerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp on Twitter. I didn't know you got rid of your Tumblr.
Yeah, I wasn't using it anymore, so I haven't gotten rid of it. I just deleted the app.
Okay. I was going to say, because I haven't even deleted my MySpace account.
I'm sure my MySpace account is still active.
Can I friend you?
So, if you can find me.
So do we just like low-key make MySpace our thing? Like we get like everyone in the group on MySpace?
I think it's all like MySpace is all set up for like music now.
Oh, we'll figure a thing out. Don't worry. Seriously,
Yeah,
Justin Timberlake, sell me MySpace because I'm telling you, there's a whole group of people like me that would love to have a place that's not Facebook.
Yes, 100%. Like Facebook is for fucking like out of touch family members. Twitter's toxic, and Instagram is for tweens.
No, you're almost right. I agree with most of that. Facebook is for family apparently. Twitter's definitely toxic as fuck. Instagram's for the thirst. TikTok's for
Instagram.
the kids.
Oh yeah, TikTok's for the tweens. Instagram's a thirst trap.
Oh yeah, but you don't even need a thirst trap when you know me, because I'll make sure you never go thirsty.
Okay, I think it's time we say goodnight.
No, you're gonna appreciate this. It's coming your way. Hang on. I always got the hookup.
We have to end this here soon because I have to pee.
Okay. Enjoy your Alison Scagliotti with dark hair.
I love it.
I know you do. All right.
It's fantastic.
That's from March
Yeah.
this year. Oh, okay.
Wow. So yeah, I don't think we're forgetting anything. So thank you all for listening to another edition of It Takes a Simple Man to Lead Geniuses podcast, brought to you by the Ohio Guys production. We'll be back with you next week for another for season 4, episode 4 of our podcast. Until then, guys, thank you all for listening. For Chad Porto, I'm Alex Swisher. Goodbye, good night, and like we always say, to infinity and beyond.
Go listen to Plum